Naram chaiva narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. Prabhu, please come forward. So we discussed last time we discussed chapter number 2.6, which was called Purusha Sukta Confirmed. And do you know what was the objective of chapter being titled Purusha Sukta Confirmed? It was a very important concept. Okay. So basically, as we spoke, when the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, when from the body of the Karanodakshaya Vishnu, the universes are coming out, and when he himself entered into the universe as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, then that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu takes a Virat form. Right? So we've discussed in first few chapters that Virat form is there was a different conclusion. Now some acharyas are saying they don't know who is he. There is one conclusion. Then people who are followers of Lord Shiva or worshipping Lord Shiva, they say he's Lord Shiva. And in Rig Ved there are prayers. Right? There are prayers glorifying him. In South India, Vishnu Sahasranam, they are chanting, glorifying him. Right? But some they are singing that into Shiva temples as well as Vishnu temple, and nothing against that. But some people say this is Lord Shiva, and because it has come from the Vedas, so the first commentary on the Vedas done by the acharyas, they concluded he is Lord Shiva. And they did not consider Purana. So there are two, Shruti and Smriti. Shruti are the Hare Krishna. Yeah. So Shrutis are the Vedas and Smriti are the Puranas. So they consider Vedas as more authentic because they have come directly from the mouth of the Supreme Lord. And others, please come. Hare Krishna. Yeah. And others say Smriti because they have been written based on the remembrance. So say there could be something wrong with the memory concept. So they don't consider them authentic. Puranas, they don't consider authentic. They say we should study from the Vedas. But to clarify that doubt, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he has compared every shlok from 6th chapter with the Rig Veda equivalent. And that's why Prabhupada has titled this chapter as Purusha Sukta Confirmed, to conclude that Virat Purush is none other than Vishnu. So that's why the chapter is titled Purusha Sukta Confirmed, so that there is no confusion. And Shruti and Samriti, so Samriti are at par. And our acharyas, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he has concluded, and there are commentaries, and based on the conclusion from the Upanishads, they have also concluded that is Lord Vishnu, but then that is too much going into that. It is just enough for us to know, just so we know what we study and what is it. So Purusha Sukta Confirmed, that was the chapter 6 title. Yeah. Now, in 5th and 6th chapters, we discuss about the creation. So the question was about creation. Parikshit Maharaj asked how this world is created. What is it that is sustaining this world? And in response to that, Shukdev Goswami narrated a conversation that happened between Brahmaji and Naradji. So he said Narad had also asked a similar question to Brahmaji. So I will explain that to you. So he explained to Naradji the same conversation and about the whole creation, starting from Karanodakshaya Vishnu to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and then the Virat form, and then discuss the various elements. There were 23 elements. Yeah? And then how, when Karanodakshaya Vishnu, when he looks at just by his glance, the whole thing becomes active just by his glance. He described that. After describing all of that, then Brahmaji concludes, and Brahmaji says that this is something that even I cannot comprehend. Even though I have told you what I knew, but I cannot comprehend. So there are three important concepts or three important principles that we should understand towards the end of the chapter. He's saying the one part he's saying is the creation element, the element of creation. Second part he's saying about the created beings. And the third part he's saying is that, oh Narad, instead of knowing about these creative elements and creations, we should better focus on the Leela avatar. So three concepts. So in the first one, he is saying to him that Adyovatara Purusha Parasya Kala Swabhava Satasatmanascha Dravyam Vikaro Gunaindriyani Virata Swarata Sthasnu Charishnu Bhumna Virata Swarat Sthasnu Charishnu Bhumna. So he concludes by saying that oh Narad, this Karanodakshaya Vishnu, he is the master. He is the master of myself. He is the master of Shiva, and he is also master of Vishnu. Right? And then all these creative elements, Kal, Swabhav. Remember, we spoke about the Kal Shakti. By the time, all these elements they come together. So the time factor. So he says that time. Yeah. Adyo Avatara Purusha Parasya. Adyo Avatara is the first incarnation, first Purusha incarnation, which is Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Right? So he says that first Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Right? And then he says Kal, Swabhav. Swabhav is what? Your desires. Kal is the time. Sat, Asat. What is true, what is not true. Right? And Manascha, even the mind also. Then he says Dravyam Vikaro. Dravyam, remember we spoke the Pradhan. So first thing that comes out is Pradhan. And then as the Supreme Lord looks at it, then it becomes Mahat Tattva. By the Vikar. Vikar means by the agitation of the Gunas. And then Guna, all the material modes, the three material modes. Indriyani, all the senses. Yeah. And then he says Virat Swarat. Yeah. Virat is that Virat Roop. And Swarat is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So Garbhodakshaya Vishnu has also come from, he has come from Karanodakshaya Vishnu. Right? Virat, Swarat. And then Sthashnu, Charishnu. Sthashnu is which are non-moving. Sthavar, everything non-moving. And Charishnu, everything is that is moving. Right? And then Bhumna, supreme. Right? So what he concludes is this Karanodakshaya Vishnu, he is the master of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He is the master of that Virat Purush. And he is also master of Guna, Kal, Swabhav, Indriya, right? Vikar, all that reaction that is happening. The Man, moving, non-moving, everything, he is the master of that. Just understand that. So just so we are all clear. So everything comes from Karanodakshaya Vishnu. And who is that Karanodakshaya Vishnu? He comes from Sankarshan, but once again, the point that Srila Prabhupada used to highlight is everything has come from Krishna. We should glorify him. Advaita Acharya is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. But at the same time, we should be worshipping Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajan. Right? Vishnu Mahan Saiha Yasya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Tamham Bhajan. Brahmaji in Brahma Samhita is saying that Vishnu Mahan, that Mahavishnu Saiha Kala Vishesho. Vishnu Mahan, Mahavishnu is just an expansion of that Supreme Krishna, Supreme Krishna Govinda, Govindamadi Purusham Tamham. I worship that Adi Purush Govinda. Just so we link everything back to Govinda, back to Shri Krishna. Everything has come from him. So Brahmaji is saying, based on my knowledge, I have described to you. Then he goes on to, so these are the elements of creation. Now Brahmaji talks about the created beings. Elements come from him. Now the created beings also he's saying. Then he's saying that myself. Aham cha bhaveya na ime prajesha daksha dayaye bhavadadayascha. And then he says, Swargalok pala, khagalok pala, naralok pala, talalok pala. Now he starts from himself. He says, Aham cha bhave yagna ime prajesha. Aham, myself. See, understand the hierarchy. Everything from Govinda, all the created elements. Now the created beings, he says, because he was the first Jeev Tattva. So he says, Aham, myself. Bhave, Lord Shiva. Yagna. Yagna is also called is actually Lord Vishnu. And so this also proves that Brahmaji spoke to Naradji in the first Manvantar. We are in which Manvantar now? Seventh Manvantar. And the first Manvantar, who was the Manu? Swambhu Manu. Swambhu Manu's wife was Shatrupa. They had 5 children. Akuti, Devhuti, Prasuti, Uttanpad and Priyavrat. 2 sons, 3 daughters. Devhuti was married to Kardam Rishi. Prasuti was married to Daksh Prajapati, who is also mind-born son of Brahmaji. And Akuti was married to another Prajapati. His name was Ruchi Prajapati. And Ruchi Prajapati and Akuti, they had a son. His name was Suyagna. And in the first Manvantar, the incarnation of the Supreme Lord is Yagna. So he was an incarnation of Yagna. So Brahmaji is clarifying that Aham cha bhave Yagna ime prajesha. Myself, Lord Shiva, and Yagna, that he is an incarnation, but he is linking it back that he has also come from Mahavishnu. So there is nothing wrong in glorifying Lord Vishnu, but knowing that this Vishnu has also come from, he is an incarnation of incarnation, something like that. We always worship, but Prabhupada always said, let's link it back to Govinda, Lord Shri Krishna. So Brahmaji is saying that myself, Lord Shiva, and Yagna, who is an incarnation, and actually that Yagna, Suyagna, who is son of Ruchi Prajapati, he also took the position of Indra in that first Manvantar. Because there was no Indra candidate. It was the very first, after the devastation, it was the first when Brahmaji woke up, Brahmaji's morning. So there was no candidate who was suitable to become Indra. So Lord himself took the position of Indra. Yeah. And he did a lot of things. So Swambhu Manu also called him Hari. So you will see a lot of name of Lord Hari in that Manvantar is also called Hari. And he's also called Hari when he relieved Gajendra. So that incarnation is also called Hari. So he's saying they have all come from him. Ime Prajesha. Prajesha is all these Prajapatis, all of these leaders of the human race. Them. Then he says Daksha Dayo. So then he goes to the next level, who are the mind-born son of Brahmaji. See the hierarchy? Brahmaji, Lord Shiva, Vishnu, and all these Prajapatis. And then he starts with Daksh Prajapati. Daksh Adayo, all these Daksh. all the leader of the human race. And Bhavadadayascha. Bhava, that means yourself. So he's telling Narad, Narad, you and all your brothers. They all, right? And then he says Swargalokapala. So you see, he's going from the hierarchy. Try to understand, right? Then Swargalokapala, all the leaders of the Swargalok, Khagalokapala, Narlokapala, earth level, and then Tallokapala, the Patal, the lower planetary system. All the leaders, so-called leaders of these lokas. So this is, so he's saying that. Then he goes to the next level. Then he says, Gandharva Vidyadhar Charanesha. Yeah. Gandharva. Gandharva is a race. They sing very well. You know, whoever sings very well, he is called a Gandharva. So he says all the Gandharva, all the Vidyadhar, all the various races now, and the Charan, who are the followers. When Supreme Lord is walking on the floor, they are all followers. So they sprinkle flowers, various services they are doing. So Gandharva Vidyadhara Charanesha. And then he says, Yeyaksha Raksho Raganaganatha. All the Yaksh, Rakshas, snakes, Naganatha, and the master of the Nagas. Yeva Rishinam Rishabha Pitrinam. Or all these rishis, or the best among the rishis, Pitrinam, everyone in the Pitrilok, they all, right? And then he also says, Daitendra Siddheshwar Danavendra, the master of the Daityas, the Siddheshwar, people who have acquired all these Siddhis, Danav, who are killing other people, their king also, right? And then he says, other one are Anne chaye bhoot pishach preta, all the bhoot, pishach, pret, all these spirits, yes. Kushmandayado, at Kushmandayado, Mrigpakshadhisha. Kushmanda is there are different type of souls, spirits. Mrig, all the animals. Pakshadhisha, the leader of all the pakshis, all the birds. Yeah. Yat kincha loke bhagavan mahaswa ojas sahaswa balvat shamavat. Yat kincha loke, in this lok, Narad, all that you see now. See, he started from the top, the creative elements of creation. Now starting from himself, the lowest species of life, Yat kincha loke. Everything else in this lok, Bhagavan Mahaswat. Whatever you see, Narad, in this world, Balvat, Shamavat, whatever is created by the strength, whatever is protected by the Shama, forgiveness, right? Shri Hri Vibhutyatmavad Adbhutaranam. Shri, all the beauty, all the lajja. You know, lajja ko kya bolenge English mein? Shyness. Yeah. Vibhuti, all the Shakti that you see, various powers, Atmavad Aranam, of the various races, right? Then he says, Bhagavad Tattvam Param, Rupavad Aswarupam, whatever is beautiful, whatever is not beautiful, everything is at least Tattvam Param, is a fragmental part of that Supreme Personality of God. All the creative elements, all the created beings, starting from me, and then he has started from top, he has come to the lowest level. जो भी क्षमा है, लज्जा है, सत है, असत है, नाग है, सांप है, किन्नर है, that is all come from a fragmental part of that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Govinda. Right? And then finally he concludes, he says, Narad, I have described to you, but then I tell you one thing that you should do. Then he says, Pradhanyato ya narish amananti leelavataran purushasya bhumna apiyatam karnakashaya shoshan anukramashe ta iman supesha. After describing creative elements, after describing all the created beings, he says, "Oh Narad, do one thing." Right? Now I will describe you to the Leela avatar of that Supreme Personality of God. Leela avataran purushasya bhumna. Bhumna, who is that Supreme Lord. Right? His Leela avatar, I am going to describe that Leela avatar to you. Oh Rishi, these Leela avatar and how they are Leela avatar, how they are like. He says, apiyatam. Drink them from your ears. Karna kashaya shoshan, all the inauspicious things which has gone into your ears, or all the inauspicious things that you want to hear, they will be dried up. Shoshan. And that is why he says, Anukramashe, I will describe you in the sequence one by one now, the Iman Supesham. I always keep those Leela avatar in my heart. I always remember those Leela avatars in my heart, and please relish them. Supeshan, they are so relishing. Please hear about the Leela avatars. Are we together? So Brahmaji has set up, he has explained to him the creation, everything. But after that, he's saying all that you know, even I don't know the limits of that. But one thing, you should hear the Leela avatar of that Supreme Lord, because they will dry up all the inauspicious things from your lips. So today's chapter is various Leela avatars of the Supreme Lord. We will discuss that. Okay. So we will go through this verse, please. Please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So ayam abhihitastat. So ayam te abhihitastat. So ayam te bhihitastat. So ayam te bhihitastat. Bhagavan Vishwabhavana. Bhagavan Vishwabhavana. Bhagavan Vishwabhavana. Bhagavan Vishwabhavana. Hat samasena harir nanya. Samasena harir nanya. Samasena harir nanya. Samasena harir nanya. Anyasmat sad asatchayat. Anyasmat sad asatchayat. Anyasmat sat asatchayat. Anyasmat sat asatchayat. Word by word translation. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Please repeat. Sah. That. Ayam. The same. Te. Unto you. Abhihitah. Explained by me. Tat. My dear son. Bhagavan. The personality of Godhead. Vishwabhavanah. The creator of the manifested worlds. Samasena. In brief. Hare. Without Hari. The Lord. Na. Never. Anyat. Anything else. Anyasmat. Being the cause of. Sat. Manifested or phenomenal. Asat. No manner. Cha. And. Yat. Whatever there may be. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki. Please repeat. My dear son, I have now explained in brief the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is creator of the manifested worlds. Without him, Hari, the Lord, there are no other causes of the phenomenal and noumenal existences. Yeah. So this is just to give you context. So Brahmaji is telling Naradji that, my dear son, so he describes all the Leela avatars. Actually, this is also summary of chapter 5 and chapter 6. So far, he has described the creation process, the creative elements, everything. So he tells him that I have told you everything. So ayam te abhitastat Bhagavan Vishwa Bhavana. That Supreme Lord Bhagavan, who is creator of this world. Yeah. He is the creator, right? And he is creator of Sat and Asat. What you see and what you don't see. Everything is created by that Supreme Lord. And he also says that Harer na anyad. Without Lord Hari, there is no one else. Yes. Anyasmat. There is no other cause without Hari. So this all is created by Supreme. It is very easy said than to realize. It takes time to realize. And that is the whole purpose of this association. Because we want to reinforce this point again and again, again and again, again and again, that even the gunas, even the material modes, everything, it is all due to the Supreme Personality of God. We are just an instrument. Yeah. And we have that little free desire, we use that desire to serve. And through this Leela avatar, yeah, which we will go through now, the point is to develop that love, that prem to the Supreme Lord. Tulsidas ji says very nicely, he says, Ram hi keval prem pyara, jaan lehi so jana nihara. अगर कोई जानना चाहता है, किसी को जानने का शौक है, तो वो ये जान ले कि राम को सिर्फ प्रेम ही प्यारा है और कुछ नहीं. अगर आप बोलो कि मैंने सब क्रिएशन का मुझे सब फंडा समझ में आ गया है, तो भगवान बोलेंगे क्या बात कर रहे हैं, ये क्रिएशन. यसेक निश्वसित कालम अथावलंबे. जिनकी एक श्वास से, जितना एक वो सांस लेते हैं उतने काल के लिए, जीवंती लोम बिलजा जगदंड नाथ. जो इस जग के, जो अंडा रूपी जग है, जिसके जो नाथ हैं, वो सिर्फ भगवान की एक श्वास तक जीवित रहते हैं. उसको आपने क्या जान लिया? हम लोग 4 श्लोक बोल लेते हैं, सब क्या है? कुछ भी नहीं. The whole point is through this process we develop that love to the Supreme. That's all. Ram hi keval prem pyara, जान ले ही सो जान निहारा. जिसको जानने की इच्छा है वो जान ले कि भगवान को सिर्फ प्रेम चाहिए और कुछ नहीं चाहिए. So I think we are on the same page. Let's read the purport by Srila Prabhupada and then we will discuss the Leela Avatar. Please hear. Since we generally have the experience of the temporary material world and conditioned souls trying to lord it over the material world, Brahmaji explained to Narad Dev that this temporary world is the work of external potency of the Lord, and that the conditioned souls struggling here for existence are the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. You understand there are 3 potencies: internal, external, and marginal. Internal potency is the Yog Maya. Yeah. और कौन है योग माया? भगवान कृष्ण भगवद गीता में 18वें अध्याय में वो कौन सा श्लोक है? योग, जिन्होंने संकर्षण भगवान का संकर्षण किया था योग माया. हाँ, वो किया था, लेकिन भगवान कृष्ण 18वें अध्याय में उस श्लोक में कह रहे हैं कि जो मेरे भक्त हैं वो मेरी योग शक्ति पे आश्रित रहते हैं. वो मैं लाइन याद कर रहा हूँ, याद नहीं आ रही, कोई बात नहीं है. तो एक योग माया भगवान की इंटरनल पोटेंसी है, राइट? एंड सेकंड इज एक्सटर्नल पोटेंसी विच इज माया, जो हम सब लोग बाहर देख रहे हैं, एक्सटर्नल शक्ति है. एंड वी आर मार्जिनल, वी आर स्टैंडिंग ऑन द फेंस. Either we can fall on this side or we can fall on that side. But we are trying to be on the Yog Maya, but We keep falling on this side. Remember, I told you once devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, we are devotees of Krishna. Why do we get into Maya? And Prabhupada said, you are always into Maya. Sometimes you just come into Krishna consciousness. Yeah? So this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that the conditioned souls struggling here for existence are the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead. There is no cause for all these phenomenal activities but Him, Hari, the Supreme Lord, who is the primeval cause of all causes. Yes, Sarva Karana Karanam. This does not mean, however, that the Lord Himself is disturbed, is distributed impersonally. He is aloof from all these interactions of the external and marginal potencies. He creates, remember when we discussed in the 6th chapter, he creates and then he comes out. Remember, I highlighted that point. He creates and then he just a spider. Yes, exactly. That spider analogy. He's not entangled into that, but anyone else gets entangled. He creates and then he comes out. He's not affected at all. He's aloof from all these interactions of external and marginal potencies. In Bhagavad Gita 9.4, it is confirmed that by his potencies alone, he is present everywhere and anywhere. Everything that is manifested rests on his potency only. Yeah. Ekanshena sthito jagat 10.42. When Bhagavan Krishna concludes, he says to Arjun, Arjun, ye sab itna jaan ke kya karo? Kim gyatena etena bahu Arjuna. अर्जुन इतना सब जान के क्या करो? विष्ठभ्याहम, I pervade this whole universe, and I pervade and I look after, I maintain this universe. How? Ekanshena, just one fragmental particle of mine. I pervade this universe and I maintain this universe. बहुत जान के क्या करूंगा? भगवान ने बोल दिया. अर्जुन प्रश्न पे प्रश्न पूछ रहे थे, लेकिन वो हमारे लिए पूछ रहे थे, है ना? He, as the Supreme Personality of God, is always aloof for everything. The potency and the potent are simultaneously one and different from one another. We are connected, but his potency is in his energy. So, for example, your potency could be, for example, let's say you are a computer engineer. So you are potent and your potency is your skills, computer engineering, whatever. So you are connected with your skill. So that is your potency. But in case of Supreme Lord, he is not affected at all. Potency is different and potent is different. He creates and he's aloof. That is the point to understand. So that becomes a reason for our entanglement. I told you in America, there was one, it was back in 1994, one of our teachers of mechanical engineering, he gave us this example. He said he went to America and he used to go to America for consulting. He will go and teach in the universities. He went there and he said, I met one worker there in the factory. And I asked him, what is the problem? How do you feel about it? He says, everything is good. But you know what? He was working in the production line, in the car manufacturing. He says, for last 30 years, I'm just in this place, right? And he was like, in the car manufacturing, there is a part, part is coming and various people, they put this part, the next person puts that part. So he says, for 30 years, I've been working in this position and I've been attaching this part to this part. And then he literally used the word, I would bloody like to know how that screw is put on this part. You see, there was a part here and there was a screw coming out of that, or bolt. And then he puts this, no screw was coming out. He was putting this part and someone else is putting that screw on the bolt. Bolt on the screw. He says, I just want to know before I die how the hell they are putting that bolt on that screw. So that's where he gets attached to that. So that's where his potency was to put that part. He was potent and potency was he was fixing. He just wanted to know that. But Supreme Lord is detached from these things. He was so attached. So that's the point I'm trying to highlight. A lot of us, we work in our previous lives, and until we retire or even until we die, we just sing the glories of how I was working in the train industry, how I fixed the trains, how I fixed the planes, right? You hear a lot of people retired, our parents. I mean, nothing wrong in that. They would have all those glorious stories, how I fixed that train, how I fixed that plane. And when they die, all these memories are going with him, which becomes a reason for their comeback again. Krishna says, okay, you enjoyed that, go back and fix that train again. Okay, that's what you desired. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejati ante kalevam tam tam eveti konte. Yeah, sada tad bhava bhavit. So that is the point. Potency. So now whatever is your potency, just do it and come back. Detach yourself. Very important. One should not deprecate the Supreme Lord for the creation of this miserable world, just as one should not blame the king for creating a prison house in the government. The prison house is a necessary institution of the governmental establishment for those who are disobedient to the laws of the government. A very important point Srila Prabhupada is saying. So this place is called a prison house. Like a government makes a prison, people who don't follow the rules, they are put into the prison. We are same. We are put into this material world, which is called Durga, which is managed by Durga Devi. People worship Durga Devi for that purpose. They don't understand. Brahmaji has himself said, Abhi Durga Devi to I bhi nahi hai. Brahmaji is saying, even me, including myself, Shiva, Vishnu, Durga Devi to abhi aayingi baat. But some people get attached to it. So that's the point Prabhupada is highlight. That prison house is a necessary institution for fixing. So this place is an institution for fixing us, so that we understand the supremacy of the Supreme Lord and plan for going back to Godhead rather than just entangled here. Yeah? Similarly, this material world full of miseries is a temporary creation of the Lord for those who have forgotten Him and are trying to lord it over the false manifestation. False manifestation, fixing the trains, fixing the city. Some people working in the council, they want to fix the council. Some president of the country, they want to fix the country. They want to fix the environment. They want to save Mother Earth. All those kind of things people are doing. But if Krishna is missing there, then it's no good. Yeah? And then, however, he is always anxious to get the fallen souls back home, back to Godhead. And for this, he has given so many chances to the conditioned souls via the authoritative scriptures, his representatives, and personal incarnations also, which we're going to go through now. Since he has no direct attachment to this material world, he is not to be blamed for its creation. भगवान को blame ना करें. भगवान ने क्यों बना दिया ये सब कर दिया. भगवान ने तो पहले ही बोल दिया है. Yeah? Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. You can't blame him now. He told very clearly, this is anitya. This is temporary, but this is real. Right? Asukham, this is full of miseries. Imam prapya. Now you have attained this bhajasva mam. How else you want, how clear instruction do you need? Your boss gives you an instruction, you have to hear at 9 a.m. Don't you go there at 9 a.m.? Yes. Do that. We're not saying don't do that, because that is also real. That is not Maya. Some people mistake. It's a Maya, usko chhod dete hain. No. That is real. This is your job is real. This place is real. If you come and start throwing the places, thing around, it's a Maya, it's a Maya. Nahi, aisa nahi chalega. Right? This is real. But this is temporary. तो इसको प्राप्त करके हमें भगवान का भजन करना है, और भजन करने के लिए भगवान के लीला अवतारों की हम लोग चर्चा करते हैं. Okay, let's do Mangalacharan. Srila Bhaktivedanta purports ki. Let's do Mangalacharan and then we'll discuss various Leela avatars. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Savadetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। भूतेर्महद्भिर्यैमा पुरो विभो निर्वायशेते यदमोष पुरुषा भुङ्क्ते गुणांशो दश षोडशात्मकं सोऽलङ्कसृष्ट भगवान् वचांसि मे। श्री कृष्ण शरणागतं कथा अमृतं सतत पीबतं भक्ति वेदांत मार्ग पंथनं सर्वलोक ऋषिते जन्म प्रसन्नं सर्वलोक ऋषिदेव जन्म प्रसन्नं। Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Let's please pray for me. May the right words come at the right time. May we are truly able to glorify the Supreme Lord and Srila Prabhupada and Srila Guru. Hare Krishna. So today's chapter, now let me share my screen. You can see my screen. Slideshow. Yeah, it's coming up. Okay. So this chapter titled Scheduled Incarnation with Specific Functions. Now every incarnation, they have a specific function. Yeah? Lord Krishna, whenever there is a need, he appears or he sends his representative or he incarnates. Like Narsim, Lord Narsim Devi came, Matsya Avatar. So various incarnations, they have a specific function. So in 39 verses, now Brahmaji, remember that what he concludes the last chapter, he tells him, Leela Avataran Purushasya Bhumna. Apiyatam Karna Kashaya Shosha. Apiyatam, इनको अपने कानों से आप पीजिए. Hearing about the glories of Supeshan, they are very relishing. Iman, I always keep them in my heart. They are very close to my heart. Yeah. Anukramasya, I will describe you one by one. So what is Brahmaji keeping in his heart? The Leela avatar of the Supreme Lord. So we should also keep the same in our heart. The Leela avatar of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. They are very close. So he's described that. And then he again concludes, he again tells that it is impossible to understand the greatness of the Vishnu without his mercy. That is another important thing. Yeah, you can only know the Krishna when he wants you to know him. And for you to have that desire, then he will reveal himself, or then he will send some representation. That's how it works. There is no force, there is nothing that you can do, right? And Bhagavan is superior to Paramatma. Then he also clarify another concept about Paramatma, Brahman and Bhagavan. Yeah. In the first chapter, first canto, second chapter, we discussed verse 1 to 11. First canto, second chapter, 11 verse. Sut Goswami tells, he says, Yat Tattva Vidas Tattvam. Yeah. People who are the knower of the Tattva, right? जो भगवान को तत्व के रूप में जानते हैं, right? Yad Jnanam Advayam, whose knowledge is without any duality. Duality क्या है? जो सर्दी, गर्मी, दुख, सुख इनसे impacted नहीं होते हैं. जो तत्व को जानते हैं, वो भगवान को जो कैसे डिस्क्राइब करते हैं, वो कहते हैं ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति भगवान इति शब्द थे। 3 कैटेगरीज। ब्रह्मन विच इज द रे, जैसे लाइट ऑफ द सन, भगवान की जो एफल्जेंस है उसको ब्रह्मन कहते हैं। परमात्मेति, द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड हु इज इनसाइड आवर हार्ट, एंड भगवान, but they have all come from the Bhagwan. So Brahmaji clarifies that also, and then finally he tells Naradji, Narad, now go and disseminate this knowledge that I've given you. Yeah. Okay. So various incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Now let's go through these various incarnations. Varaha Avatar. When did, now let's make this an interactive session. We got another half an hour. Make it an interactive session. Who knows about Varaha Avatar? Why did Supreme Lord took Varaha Avatar? Hiranyaksh. And Varaha Avatar, how did it look? Lagan, how did the Varaha Avatar look? That's fine. You will remember this. If you don't know, that's okay.
Because he's a
Varaha. Shukar.
Shuk.
Keshavadhrita Shukar Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare. या वराह अवतार, भगवान ने वराह अवतार धारण किया था पृथ्वी को ऊपर लाने के लिए। शुक्र रूप था वराह अवतार जिसको कहते हैं। और क्या हुआ, क्या था सिचुएशन, जब ब्रह्मा जी की मॉर्निंग होती है, ओके, एक कल्प, भगवान ब्रह्मा जी का एक कल्प की रात्रि, एक कल्प का दिन, और ब्रह्मा जी की आयु 100 वर्ष की होती है। उनके एक साल में 360 दिन होते हैं और 360 रात होती है। तो एक कल्प का दिन है, एक कल्प की रात्रि है। जब अब ब्रह्मा जी का दिन चल रहा है तो हम लोग वी आर ऑल्सो अलाइव। जब ब्रह्मा जी सो जाते हैं तब डिवास्टेशन होती है, प्रलय आती है, और स्वर्ग लोक तक सारे जो लोग हैं वो सब जल के भस्म हो जाते हैं। बारिश होती है, शेषनाग भगवान के मुंह से अग्नि निकलती है, हजारों साल तक सब भस्म हो जाता है। उसके बाद जब ब्रह्मा जी जगते हैं वो फिर से रचना को शुरू करते हैं। सो नाउ वराह भगवान के 2 इनकारनेशन है, श्वेत वराह और रक्त वराह। श्वेत वराह कहते हैं भगवान ने श्वेत वराह अवतार लिया था पद्म कल्प में, जब ब्रह्मा जी पद्म से निकल के आए थे, जो वेरी फर्स्ट था। तो उस वक्त में अर्थ, यस यस या थैंक यू, पद्म कल्प। So Lord, Supreme Lord incarnated as Varaha Avatar. Mother Earth had submerged into the Garbhodak ocean. Garbhodak Shai Vishnu है, Garbhodak Shai, 3 word, right? Odak Shai, Shai who is lying, who is sleeping in that, and Garbhodak, Odak is water या ocean. Garbhodak में, when in the Garbhodak, Mother Earth had immersed into the Garbhodak, then when Brahmaji created Manu Maharaj and Shatrupa, they came from the body of Brahmaji, and Brahmaji told Manu Maharaj that you start the progeny. And Manu Maharaj said, how can I start? Where will they stay? I can't see Mother Earth. And then Brahmaji said, let's go and pray to the Supreme Lord. Then they all went and prayed to the Supreme Lord, and then Supreme Lord appeared in Varaha form, that is called Shvet Varaha, in the very first millennium. Then Supreme Lord appeared as Varaha, his body he was Shvet, white. Then he went on into the Garbhodak ocean and he brought Mother Earth on his tusk and he placed it on its place. The second incarnation was Varaha, Rakt Varaha. In that, the Supreme Lord had hue as Rakt, red as the blood. And at that time he fought with Hiranyaksh, second time. So that is to understand that he keeps appearing. The Supreme Lord will appear as and when required, in any form or any shape, as per the need. So that's when Supreme Lord took the form of Varaha Avatar. And that time also he killed Hiranyaksh. Yeah? And mind you, so another important point, we're in the 7th Manvantar now, right? So Brahmaji spoke to Naraji, it is said that in the very first Manvantar. So not only he is describing the avatars who have appeared, he is also going to describe avatar that will appear. So there is a mix-up here, you might, but don't get confused. The point that I want to put across is Brahmaji is also describing the future incarnation. That is the potency of our scriptures. just so our faith becomes strong. Shraddha, because Shraddha is very important. Yeah. Okay. So the first incarnation was Varaha. Now Suyagna, it is in that. So he is speaking to Naradji. By that time, Naradji has appeared. Brahmaji has had his son. So Varaha Avatar has happened. So he is describing that. Now Suyagna, we spoke about Yagna incarnation. So he came from Manu Maharaj's son, Manu Maharaj's daughter, sorry. His name was Ruchi Prajapati, was the son of mind-born son of Brahmaji, and the daughter was Akuti. Yeah. So from there, from them the son was born, Suyagna. And at that time I said, because there was no Indra, so Supreme Lord Yagna also took the position of Indra. And he fixed all the planetary systems. And then Swambhu Manu called him Hari. Hari Shabdir Bahu Arth Dui Mukhyatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hari Shabdir Bahu Arth Dui Mukhyatam. Yeah. Sarva Amangal Hare. Hare Man. Pap Hare. Sarva Amangal Hare. Prem Diya Hare Man. Yeah. Sarv Amangal Hare Prem Diya Hare Man. Hari Shabder Bahu Arth. Yeah. Hari Shabd ke bahut arth hai, many meanings. Hari is also called elephant. Hari is also called lion. But in this case, Dui Mukhyatam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says there are two important meanings. What does he do? Sarv Amangal Hare. All the inauspicious things are stolen. Hari means also stealing. Harliya, har. So he steals away all your inauspicious things. And prem diya. He gives you prem or aapke man ko har lete. So enchanting, your heart is attached to his. So that's Hari. So he is called Hari. Okay, second incarnation. And there are many more incarnations, by the way, Prabhuji Mata. Don't get confused. Many incarnations. They are happening all the time. Supreme Lord is appearing. We can't see. Kapil, Bhagwan Kapil. So Mata Devhuti, who is daughter of Manu Maharaj, she got married to Kardam Rishi, who is mind-born son of Brahmaji. Right? And from their association, Bhagwan Kapil was born. From their marriage, Bhagwan Kapil. And who spoke on Sankhya Yoga. And we'll discuss that in third canto. So Bhagwan Kapil. Once again, at that time, there was a need. And then Dattatreya, Bhagwan Dattatreya, people who are from Maharashtra, right? They know very well. Yeah. So Bhagwan Dattatreya, they were born to Anusuya and Atri Rishi. Atri Rishi is also one of the mind-born son of Brahmaji, and Anusuya is daughter of Mata Devhuti, Kardam Rishi. Right? So they got married, and from their marriage, actually three children, right? Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. And yes, so the name is given Dattatreya, yeah, because Lord, Supreme Lord give himself. That word means Datta. Supreme Lord said, I give myself to you, Datta. And Treya, because Atri Rishi's son. So Datta Atreya. Atri ko maine apne aap ko de diya. So that's how the Supreme Lord called his name, Dattatreya. Yeah. And then Bhagwan Dattatreya, Sahastra Arjun, Sahastra Bahu, many dynasties got liberated. Sahastra Bahu Arjun, who was killed by Bhagwan Parshuram. He was a devotee of Bhagwan Dattatreya. He got those 1,000 arms because of blessings of Dattatreya. See, one incarnation, he getting blessings. And another incarnation, he is getting annihilated. He is getting, but he still got liberated. Mahishmati, this is in Madhya Pradesh. That's where. Once very famous pastime, Ravana had gone for a picnic in Narmada river flows there. So Ravana had gone there for picnic, and Ravana had set up his camp. And Ravana was there showing his prowess, and he was threatening local residents. But that area belonged to Sahastra Arjun. And they went and complained to him that some demon has come and he's threatening us. Then Sahastra Arjun said, okay, that's fine. What did he do? He had 1,000 arms. With his 1,000 arms, he created a bridge in the Narmada river. He stopped the water. And as he stopped the water started overflowing. And then there was a flood in Ravana's camp. Ravana was there with his queens and with his sons. So his camp got flooded. When his camp got flooded, Ravana got agitated. Ravana said, who is this? I'm going to punish you. And then Sahastra Arjun, he had 1,000 arms. He picked Ravana from one of his arms. And he captured him, and then he put him in the Astabal, where they stable, where they tie the horses. They took him there. And it is said that then Sahastra Arjun's sons, they played with Ravan. They put fireworks on his head. And then who is the Rishi? Ravan ke Nana kaun the? Pulastya Rishi. Then Pulastya Rishi came and he said to Sahastra Arjun, "Oh, you are so brave. You got blessings from Bhagavan Dattatreya. Please release." And then Ravan was released. So Bhagavan Dattatreya. Then 4 Kumaras, Sanat Kumars, we know that. They are actually first they were born and Brahmaji told them, you start the progeny. But their purpose, it is said that the knowledge was lost because this is a new kalp. During the night of Brahmaji, this knowledge was lost to rishis and all. So these Kumars, they came, they appeared to disseminate that knowledge once again. So there is that purpose for that. Nar Narayan, another incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Badrinath, in Nar Narayan, Badrinath, that's where they are always performing the austerity. They came to show how to perform the austerities.
2 mountains are named.
Sorry?
2 mountains are named.
2 mountains are named. And the very first that we pray, recite before studying Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. What is that first? Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottam. So that's where we are praying. We are praying to them, Nara Narayan. Then Prishni Garbha. You know, Vasudev and Devaki. This was the 3rd time they got Supreme Lord as their son. The first time they had their son born. Then at that time, they were Prishni and Sutapa. Sutapa was a Prajapati. He was a son of Brahmaji. He was married to Prishni. They did not have any children. Then Brahmaji gave them a deity. You worship this deity. And then you will have Supreme Lord born as your son. They worshipped that deity. And then after the worshipping, Supreme Lord appeared. And they said, please, we want you as our son. And they said 3 times. Supreme Lord said, okay, I will appear your son as 3 times. So first time Supreme Lord appeared as, so because he became son of Prishni, so he's called Prishni Garbha. One who is born from Prishni's Garbha. Second time Supreme Lord appeared as their son was Vaman Bhagavan. Yeah. So as a son of Kashyap and Aditi. And the 3rd time is he appeared as Supreme Lord Krishna. Vasudeva and Devi. So he's called Prishnigar. And then Prithu, Maharaj Prithu, who is son of Vena. Yeah. Vena, he was a king, but he was not following the rules and regulations. He was creating so much havoc. And then he was killed. Brahmanas cursed him. And then from his body, the rishis, I mean, we will study it in the 5th canto. I think it's in the 5th canto. Yeah. We'll study about Maharaj Prithu. He got his name Prithu from Prithvi. Because at that time, the king Ven, he was so irreligious that Mother Earth stopped giving anything. And then the Supreme Lord appeared as Prithu Maharaj. And then he chased Mother Earth. He said, why you are not giving the grains? Why you are not providing these things? It was just a leela. And then Mother Earth came in the form of cow and she prayed to the Supreme Lord. She said, you are Supreme Lord. Please tell me, how can I serve? So then he came as Maharaj Prithu.
And Pritha.
Pritha is Kunti. Yeah, Mother Kunti. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Bhagwan Rishabdev. We will again discuss in 5th canto. Yeah. Bharat Maharaj, who is son of Bhagwan Rishabdev, on his name it's called Bharatvarsh. You know the Jad Bharat pastime. So that Jad Bharat, he is son of Bhagwan Rishabdev. Again, we'll discuss that. Hayagriva, this is the horse incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. Those demons, they took away all the Vedas. So Supreme Lord appeared in that form and he killed them and he got the Vedas back. Matsya Avatar, yeah, which is we in the 6th canto we will study Maharaj Priyavarth. Yeah. We'll discuss that incarnation. Yeah. Then Kurma Avatar, when the churning of ocean happened. Please remember these incarnations. That is the point. That is why Brahmaji is saying, Ta iman supeshan. They are very close to my heart. The whole point is, rather than I contemplate on your leelas, on your actions with me, I should contemplate on these leelas of the Supreme. That is the whole point. The more we hear these, the more they will become in my heart. And then more we will review them. Think about it. He's getting bored? Okay. Narsimhadev. We sing Narsim prayer Lagan. Tell us, Narsim Bhagwan, how did he appear and when did he appear? Just 2 lines. The lion, half man. And he came to save Prahlad Maharaj. Yeah. Keshavadhrita Narsinga Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Then Narsimha. Then Hari, Gajendra, we'll discuss in 8th canto. Then Hamsa Avatar. Hamsa Avatar, this is very interesting. Lord Krishna is telling Uddhavji. This is in the 11th canto and we will discuss that. But it's very interesting. I was reading that. So Uddhavji asks Lord Shri Krishna this question. He says to the Supreme Lord that, my dear Lord, the living entities get bewildered by the desire objects. 2 things, your desire and the desire objects. For example, if you like to eat, so desire object could be some food item like pizza, pasta, whatever. So that is a desire object and then your desire. So the question was very simple that, my dear Lord, people who are trying to get liberated, jinko moksha chahiye, right? So these desire objects enter into their mind as desires. See, this is 2-way. Desire object, now it has entered into my mind as a desire, and this is object. So now these 2 are connected. So the question was, how do we get rid of this? So Krishna told Uddhav that this same question was asked by Sanat Kumara to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji was bewildered. He did not know how to answer this question. And as Brahmaji was thinking, at that Supreme Lord appeared as Hamsa Avatar, Paramhans, that we say, because they can separate water from the milk. So that is Hamsa Avatar. We'll discuss the detail later on, but that's when the Supreme Lord appeared as Hamsa Avatar. Then Manvantar Avatar, in various Manvantars, the Supreme Lord keep appearing. It is called in the first Manvantar, Supreme Lord appeared in the Manu Maharaj dynasty. So many incarnations. Bhagwan Rishabhdev, Bhagwan Kapil Dev, Bhagwan Yag, right? So he keeps appearing. Various Manvantar Avatars. Dhanvantari Avatar, when the churning of the ocean was happening, Supreme Lord appeared as Dhanvantari. Parashuram, Bhagwan Parashuram, he came. You all know the pastime. Lord Ram, Krishna, Supreme Lord Krishna. Now, important point is Lord Krishna hasn't appeared. So all of these things Brahmaji is telling to Naraji, it will happen. Avatar, knowing Avatar is one thing, but that we appreciate the potency of the scriptures. What Brahmaji is saying, and this is exactly has happened. He's telling Krishna will come. And he's also telling about his appearance. He's in this chapter, Brahmaji is telling to Naraji, his hairs will be curly, black hairs. Even to this extent, he is telling. He also talks about Balramji will be there. He says, appear as brothers. With his expansion, he will come. They will have black hairs. See, this is how we develop faith. It is said the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the black akshar is Krishna, and the white paper it is written on is Radha. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is none other than Krishna. So that's how we just staunch faith, nothing else. And then superhuman activities, the Supreme Lord. So now Brahmaji has described all the activities, starting from killing Putana, all the asuras, Dhenuka Asur, who is that Baal Asur? What is his name? Dhenuka Asur, Bakasur, Aghasur, Putana, all the leelas that Supreme Lord performed, Brahmaji is describing now. In this.
And then this is interesting that at the same time he got bewildered. And has he described that he will get bewildered?
He will get bewildered. Yes, no, he hasn't described that. That's right. That's what Lord Shiva is telling Mother Parvati. Prabhu Maya Balvant Bhavani जे हिन मोहि कवन अस ज्ञानी. ओ भवानी, प्रभु की माया इतनी बलवंत है, किसको नहीं मोहा है? ऐसा कोई ज्ञानी नहीं है जिसको उसने मोहा. Who hasn't been put into the illusion? तभी तो ब्रह्मा जी शुरू में ही कह रहे अहम. He starting with himself. Aham cha bhave yagna ime prajesha. All these prajapatis, and we'll hear his concluding, conclusion. And then he says the Supreme Lord appeared as Vyasdev. It is said that the Vyasdev appears in every kalp. He appears in every kalp to divide the Vedas into 4 parts, to author the Vedas, to author the Puranas. He keeps coming. The Supreme Lord as an incarnation, Vyasdev, every kalp. Then Buddha, Keshavadhrita, Buddha Sharira, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare. Anjani Namana Kikiteshu Bhavishyati. Very clearly described in the Shastra that the name of his mother will be Anjani. Kikiteshu in the Bihar state, this place is called. That's where Lord Buddha will appear. So this is the potency of our scripture. Described already. And we know the purpose he appeared. Then Kalki. Kalki hasn't appeared, but Brahmaji has already foretold that Supreme Lord will appear in the form of Kalki. When there won't be any place where they can chant the holy names, Swaha, Om, etc. He says where everybody will forget, then Supreme Lord will appear as Kalki. So let's pray. We pray we don't have to face Kalki. Right? You don't want to stay here for so long. So already saying. And then Guna Avtaras. Yeah. Various Guna Avtaras, they are said like they are for the 3 purpose. Because Guna, how the creation happens? By the agitation of the moods. Right? So Guna Authority says he comes as tapasya, as austerity. That is a Guna Avatar. He takes that. Then creation, that happens with the modes, material modes, tapasya, gunas, and then maintenance. As maintenance, he appeared as Bhagwan, he appeared as demigods. This is for the maintenance. And then for the annihilation, that is that in the mode of ignorance, Rudra Avatar. And even atheists who don't want to respect the Supreme Lord, they also got that vibhuti. I mean, you might question then why bother if they are also part and parcel of Krishna? But think of their life and think of your life. You are sitting here glorifying the Supreme Lord, but who are atheists, they are somewhere, they are rotting somewhere. Yes, everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. Mamay vansho jeev loke jeev bhut sanatan. Sab mam priya, mama hi sab upjaye. Lord Ram says, Sab mujhe pyare hai. Everyone is born from me. Yes, but you use your free will to come and sit here in the satsang. They using their free will to go and sitting in and rotting in somewhere, doing all those kind of bad things. Even though they are part and parcel, but they will face Kalki, and you will face Vishnu Dut. A plane will come to take you back to Godhead. Let's dream. If you dream, only then you can succeed. Yeah. So various guna avtaras of the Supreme Lord, and then, as I said, at creation, maintenance, and annihilation. So like this, now Brahmaji has described all the incarnations, and then he tells him that understanding the Lord Vishnu by his mercy. Now you might ask a question that, Prabhu, yes, there is a various incarnations. How do I understand? And like I said, very simple, Goswamiji said, Ram hi keval prem pyara, jana lehi so jana nihara. What else do you want to know? Lord Ram only loves, right? He only loves your prem, your surrender to him. If you want to know about the Lord, yes, he likes to be loved. He likes to be served. That's all. What else do you want to know? So that's where now Brahmaji, after describing all of this, he's concluding, no one described the Lord's greatness. Vishnornu Virya Gadanam. He says the Supreme Lord's Virya, all his potencies, counting all his potencies is like counting all the particles, dust particles on the earth. And he says, even if someone can count all the dust particles on the earth, they can still not count the potencies of the Supreme Lord. And what to speak of others? He says, those so-called educated. Now Brahma puts himself in this position. Na antam vedami aham ami. Yeah. Kuta agro ja aste. He says, na antam. Even myself, I don't know the end to the glories of the Supreme Lord. Ami, all these Prajapatis, all these rishis who are born before you, he's telling to Narad now. Agrajaste, jo people who are born before you, oh my dear son, your elder brothers, neither me nor these your elder brothers born before you, they do not know. Maya balasya purushasya, the strength of his Maya, of his energy, that supreme personality of Lord had. Kuto avra, the people, what to speak of me born before you? If we can't know, what to speak of people who are born after us? So there is no way to know the greatness of the Supreme Lord. Even Anant Shesh, then he said, Anant Shesh, who is chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord with 10,000 hands, 10,000 heads, even he cannot, he's still singing all the time. So he cannot comprehend. Then Naradji asked, then how? Who can know? Then Brahmaji says, only the surrendered souls can know the Lord, and that too by his own mercy. Yesham sa esha bhagavan ananta. He says to them, that Supreme Lord who is Anant. Yeah, that Supreme Lord who is Anant, Yesham, to them to whom he is merciful. Only they can know him. And he is describing their qualities. He says, Sarvatmana Ashrita Yadi, who are totally surrendered to that Supreme Lord. Sarvatmana, who is the super soul of everyone, people who are totally surrendered to him. Yadi nirvalikam, without any doubt. Nirvalikam, without any doubt, who are fully surrendered to him. Te dustaram atitaran ticha deva maya naisha mama ahamiti dhi swashrigala bhaksha. He says, they, only those people, they can cross over this dustar, which is difficult to cross. They can cross over this maya. They can understand because you have to cross this external potency. Like I said, we are on the marginal potency. We're trying to go back, but we are not marginal. We are totally into the external potency now. Let's not fake ourselves. External, internal, and marginal. Even though we are called marginal, but we are 100% on the external side. We are want to cross over to go to the internal potency. So only those people who have no doubt, who are fully surrendered to the Supreme Lord, right? And only they, by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. You are surrendered, you don't have any doubt, and still you need the mercy of the Supreme Lord to know him. And another quality he says, te na aisha, not those who are mam aham iti dhi, whose intelligence is me and mine. These intelligence. If my intelligence, I'm me and you are mine. If they are involved in that, he says, who are attached to the body, then he says, this body, swa shragal bhakshaye. Shwa is dogs and shragal is the jackals. This body which is meant to be eaten by dogs and jackals, people who are attached to this body, people who are doubting the Supreme Lord, for them it is not possible. Only the surrendered souls who have no doubt, who are fully surrendered, and by the mercy of the Supreme, they can know. And then Naradji asked, but who all have known the Lord? And Brahmaji now gives some examples. He says, all powerful Shiva, he knows. The great king of atheist family, namely Prahlad Maharaj knows. Swambhu Manu knows, his wife Shatrupa knows, and their sons and daughters Priyavar, Uttanpad, Akuti, Devhuti, Prasuti, Prachin Barhi, Ribhu, Ang, who is the father of Vain. See, so another important point. We spoke, so Prithu Maharaj was born to Vain as his son. And Vain's father knows about the Supreme Lord, but Vain was such a rascal, in that family. But it is said that the Supreme Lord even purified him. Prithu Maharaj purified him. Because of Prithu Maharaj, Vena got liberated. And that's when he proved the point, Putra. Putra means Iti putra. Yes, put namna naraktrayate iti putra. So the son's duty is to save the father from going into this hell called Put. So Prithu Maharaj proved that he saved his father from going into the hell. See, just when Maharaj Vain was like that in between. And then Janak Maharaj, Gadhi, who is father of Vishwamitra. Yes, very good. Raghu, who's Lord Ram's dynasty. Ambrish Maharaj, Sagar, Nahusa. Nahusa, we will discuss that past time. He also fell down and he got cursed by God. We'll discuss that. Bhish Pitame, Bali Maharaj, Dilip, Sobhari, Utanka, Shivi, Devala, Uddhav, Parashar, Vibhishan, Hanuman, Shukdev Goswami, Arjun, Arshti Sena, Vidur, and Shrutadev, etc. So he has also told him Narad's question has been answered. Now, if you want to know, you can read these pastimes. He's given you example. You want everything, you want example. Tell me who has succeeded this. Brahma is saying, yes, these are the examples. They will be examples. Some of them will be examples, by the way. When he's speaking, it hasn't happened. Yeah. And then he says, purification by devotees' mercy. Once again, he's saying, if you are surrendered, even if you are not surrendered, then he says, but if you get a mercy of a devotee, then you can be saved. Te vai vedanti ati taranti cha deva maya istriya shudra huna shabara api papa jiva yad adbhuta krama parayana shila shiksha tiryag janapi kimu shrut dharanaye. Now Brahmaji tells him, okay, you are not surrendered. That's fine. You are not intelligent. Fine. But he says the next option for you is Tevai Vidanti Ati Taranti. They can know. They can also cross over this ocean. What to speak of them? Even the Papa Jiva, Shudra, Huna, mountaineers, Siberians, right? They can be liberated. How? Because if they are Shila Shiksha, if they are taking direction from a devotee of the Supreme Lord, or if they are connected with the devotee of the Supreme Lord. Tiryag Jana, all the beast. Tiryag Janapi, all the beastly mentality. Not literally beast. If your mentality is beastly, even they can be liberated. Then Narad, what to speak of people? Shrut Dharanaye, who have heard from their Guru Maharaj. So those of you who are all attached to your Guru, who are all taking instructions from your Guru, now Brahmaji says, they will get to know the Supreme Lord regardless. When these kind of people can be liberated, if you are hearing from your Guru, Tevai Vidanti Ati Taranti Cha Deva Maya, you can be liberated. Yeah? So purification by devotees' mercy. So that's second section. And then he concludes description of Paramatma and Brahman and establishing Bhagavan as the ultimate phase. So we will just quickly run through that. I think we have discussed that before. Like I said, the quality. So he's describing about Paramatma, Brahman, and Bhagavan. These three features. I hope we all understand these three features, right? But everything comes from Bhagavan. Yeah, Paramatma, we already know as Shiro Dakshaya Vishnu, he enters into every jiva as a Paramatma. Right? But when Brahmaji has told, everything comes from Govinda. Govinda Madi Purushantam. Yes, you meditate on Paramatma as a yogi. But Gajendra, when he is praying, he even says that the yogi, who is the Yogeshwar, who is the giving the result of all the yoga? Lord Krishna. When Supreme Lord came as a Hari, when he prayed, in the 8th canto we'll discuss, Gajendra is praying, and Itne Hari aa gaye pasunan aarud bhai. As he was praying, Supreme Lord came. He came running. Rather, it is said that he came running because he thought Garud was going very slow. The driver was slow. He said, Garud, he jumped off the Garud and he ran himself to save Gajendra. Yeah. So that's where Gajendra is saying, Roga Randhit, Yoga Randhit Karmano, Hridi Yoga Vivadite, Yogi Nam Yam Prapashyanti, Yogeshwartam Natosam. Yogi Nam, Yogi जिस पे meditate करते हैं, by योग के द्वारा, Yoga Randhit Karmano. By the yoga, they have burnt the desire to perform the action, the desire to have the results of the actions. Hridi Yoga Vibhavite. In their heart, they get to see that Paramatma. yogi nam yam prapashyanti, which they see face to face, direct, that Supreme Lord Paramatma inside. So the result of that yoga is given by whom? Yogeshwar. Yatra Yogeshwaro Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. Who is Yogeshwar? Krishna. So that Yogeshwar Gajendra said, I pray to him. Yes, you can do that. So the point that Brahmaji is saying, even if you are focusing on Brahma Jyoti, even if you are meditating on the Paramatma inside, but that is also, result of that is also given by Bhagavan. So why not worship Bhagavan? Worship Bhagavan. Respect everyone. Very important. Don't undermine people. If somebody is doing yoga, somebody is taking Gyan Marg, don't undermine them, but know that everything comes from Bhagavan. So that fact, Brahmaji is establishing that everything comes from the Supreme Lord. And then Bhagavan is the ultimate benefactor, right? Even Paramatma meditator, Brahma meditator, they also get their result when it is sanctioned by the Supreme Lord. Yeah, important point to understand. And then finally, Brahmaji tells Narad, oh Narad, dissemination of this knowledge. And then today's verse. What is today's verse? So I am te bhi abhitas tat. Yeah. Oh my son, I have given you this knowledge. Bhagwan Vishnu Bhavana, Lord Supreme Lord is the creator of this universe. Right? Samasen, in summary, in conclusion, in summary, this Sat Asat, phenomenal and non-phenomenal, this world is created by the Supreme Lord. Harer na anyad, without Lord Hari, nothing exists. And then he says, Idam Bhagavatam Nam, this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, right? Yanme Bhagavato Ditam, this Bhagavatam, which is spoken to me by, or this Bhagavat is spoken to me by the Supreme Lord. Yanme Bhagavato Ditam, which is spoken to me by the Supreme Lord. What? And then he says, gives me the instruction. He says, Sangraho ayam vibhuti nam. Yeah. Tvam etad vipuli kuru. He has only spoken to this Bhagavat. You can say he only spoke in 3 chapters. But now he says, you go and you elaborate on this. Tvam etad vipuli kuru. Go and expand on this. Like our Srila Prabhupada did expansion. What? He put the purpose on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Elaborate. Naradji went. Now in next chapter we will see 2.9 Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam. The Supreme Lord only spoke 4 shlokas to Brahmaji. Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam. But then it was elaborated by Vyasdevji, then Naradji, and this. So that's what Supreme. Now Brahmaji instruct. After now, just let's just focus. So this is pretty much the conclusion of 3 chapters, 5, 6, and 7. After understanding all the creation, kahan se kya aata hai, kahan se mode aata hai, kahan se kuch aata hai, understanding everything, Brahmaji is saying, Narad, that's it. This is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Just know that Harer na anyad astiti, sat asat chayat. Everything without Hari, nothing is possible. So then Narad says, what shall I do? He says, Idam Bhagavatam, this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavato Ditam, which is spoken to me by the Supreme Lord Himself. Tvam etad vipuli kuru. And this is Sangraho ayam vibhuti nam. This is a collection of all the potencies of the Supreme Lord. Go and expand on this. And then Nara says, how do I expand on this? He says, expand on this. Yatha harau bhagavati nirnam bhaktir bhavishyati. Expand it in such a way so that nirnam, the living entities, they will develop the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. Harau bhagavati. No one else, not to demigods, only Supreme Lord. Go and elaborate this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And then in what mood he should elaborate? He says, Sarvatmani Akhila Adharo. Yeah. With the mood that Supreme Lord is Sarvatma. He is everywhere. Akhila Adharo. Everything rests upon him. Iti Sankalpaya Varnaya. Is Sankalp ke saath. With that mood, Narad, please go and distribute these glories to everyone. So the result should be what? Yatha harau bhagavati nirnam bhaktir bhavishyati. So that nirnam, the living entities, develop the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And then Narada asks a question, then what are you saying, Father? Should I not talk about the Maya? He says, no, you should talk about the Maya. Mayam varnaya. Maya ka varnan karo. Ishwarasya, of the Supreme Lord. Anumodita. Describe this Maya as in, now he's talking about the external energy, right? He creates this by using his external energy. And in the bhakti is, this is our talk all about the Chitta Shakti, internal potency. The Leela Avatar related with the internal potency. He says, no, Mayam Varnaya, Maya ka Varnan karo, Ishwarasya Anumodita, and appreciate this. How? Shraddhaya, Nityam, with full faith, all the time. Usse kya hoga? Usse se Mayaya Atmana Muhyati. You go and describe the external potency of the Supreme Lord in connection with the Supreme Lord. That is the point he's saying. So that we don't start calling it false. Understand, very important point. Sometimes we just reject this is false. He says, no, no. Go describe the external potency of the Supreme Lord in connection with the Supreme Lord. To please the Supreme Lord. Shraddhaya Nityam, all the time, with full faith. This has come from the Supreme. You can't call it false. With that faith, you describe that. If you describe, if you glorify that, then Mayam Atman Muhyati. That Maya will not bewilder you. Right? Are we together? So with that mood, Narad, go. Describe this. That is why we say we should always, everything you look at it, no, this belongs to Supreme Lord. But the superior point is Leela Avatar. We should remember his Leela pastime and discuss, which is Karna Kashaya Shoshan. So with that, we'll stop now. So this concludes our so distribute Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Importance of understanding the creation pastime. We should understand the Purusha Avatar. We should understand, but with a mood to have that reverence. And that is the purpose. In the second canto, we have discussed the creation. Now you know the potency of the Supreme Lord. Now when you go to the future cantos, now you can relish the pastimes. Even the third canto, again, we'll discuss the creation, because Vidurji has this question from Maitreji. But again and again, the point to reinforce is this whole thing is created by Supreme Lord. He is the Lord of everything. So, and then next chapter we'll discuss next week. Questions by Parikshit Maharaj. Then Parikshit Maharaj will have more questions. We'll stop then. So, okay, Prabhuji, Mataji, we will stop now. Any questions or comments before we stop?